In a not too distant past, last week marks the 25th anniversary of what many say is one of the few greatest movies based on the field game Mortal Kombat. Based on the highly successful and very violent series of the same name, created by Ed Boon and John Tobias, Mortal Kombat was released in theaters on August 18, 1995 for New Line Cinema and director Paul W.S. Anderson, who later directed a series of films based on Capcom's Resident Evil series. Despite the mixed critical reviews, Mortal Kombat opened number 1 at the box office and earned an estimated $122 million worldwide. While most movies based on field games are infamous for being poorly made cash grabs, Mortal Kombat, as of this writing, is the 7th high-grossing movie based on a field game behind 2020's Sonic the Hedgehog and 2016's The Angry Birds movie. What makes this 1995 action martial arts fantasy still has a cult following to this day. Upon going to the movies in December of 1994, I was excited to see the now infamous Street Fighter the movie, based on Capcom's fight game series of the same name. But nothing could prepare my 10-year-old mind for the action-packed trailer for Mortal Kombat the movie. I wanted to see it as soon as I saw the trailer, and when I did see it in the summer of '95, I thought it was the greatest movie I ever saw. Granted, I was 10 turning 11 around that time, and the film itself has shown some age over the years, especially in the special effects department. Still, what keeps me coming back to this age-guilty pleasure is the story. Even more so, it's the first adaptation that had me invested in the lore of Mortal Kombat. Loosely based on the first game, the film centered around Liu Kang, a defected Shaolin monk who enters the Mortal Kombat tournament not only to decide the fate of the world, but also find his brother's killer, Shang Tsung. Among the other combatants, including the cocky martial arts actor Johnny Cage, the U.S. Special Forces soldier Sonya Blade, they were chosen by Raiden, the God of Thunder, along with Liu Kang to represent Earthrealm in a tournament to ensure victory, protecting the invasion from the realm of Outworld. Like the source material, this martial arts fantasy takes a lot of inspiration from films such as Enter the Dragon and Big Trouble in Little China, and it shows in both mediums. The film also has a stellar cast including Robert Shaw as Liu Kang, Lyndon Ashby as Johnny Cage, Richard Wilson as Sonya, Christopher Lambert of the Highlighter fame as Raiden, and playing the big bad Shang Tsung is Tori Hayuki Togawa, who later reprised his role as the cunning sorcerer in the Mortal Kombat Legacy web series, and more recently, the latest game in the series, Mortal Kombat 11.
Your soul is mine.
While the acting is reminiscent of most 90s action movies, the fight scenes are where it's at. Much like Street Fighter the movie, it is awesome to see characters from the game take on each other on the silver screen, especially the fight between Johnny Cage and Scorpion, played by martial artist and stuntman Chris Hasamasa, and voiced by Mortal Kombat co-creator Ed Boon. While the film suffered from some poorly aged special effects, the most impressive feat is the use of practical effects for the Shokan warrior Prince Goro, the second to the last boss in the first game. While there are many cliches and inconsistencies pointed out by those from CinemaSins and the Nostalgia Critic, they are noticeable but won't destroy the viewing experience, especially if you're a sucker for nostalgia like myself. In hindsight, the film is still a blast to watch even to this day, especially if you're a fan of 90s martial art movies or a hardcore fan of Mortal Kombat games. While there are many adaptations since the first film, including the god-awful sequel, which I will not talk about, as well as the TV series, the Saturday morning cartoon, and again, the web series from Machinima, none of them still holds a candle to what makes the first Mortal Kombat movie great.